Is stress eating undoing all of the healthy eating that you're due during the day? Is your diet totally sabotaged by everything that you eat after 8 p.m.? I can totally relate. So today what I want to do is teach you what's cooking in your brain and how to get out of that. So if we haven't met, my name is Denise Jelinek and I help women over 40 end emotional eating and stress eating so they can actually start to transform their bodies, which is what they've been working so stinking hard to do. So what is cooking in your brain? So like I said, I want to teach you what's going on and then how you can counter that stuff. Okay, the first thing that you need to know is that when we are stress eating, the thing is that you are on automatic pilot. You're working in this limbic part of your brain that's like, hey, I just want to feel really good. You're really on autopilot. We're not thinking with the front part of our brain, which is our decision making, right? Because if you could actually step aside from that, when you're not in that scenario, you're like, do I really want to take the whole bag of family-sized chips to the couch? And then you look and you're like, oh my gosh, did I even eat that whole bag? How did that just happen? So here's the way that the brain works. The brain works to avoid pain, to keep you safe, right? Definitely wants to keep you safe. It conserves energy. And then it also seeks pleasure. So you can see in this little area here where all three of those intersect, this is the behavior that wins. So when we're stress eating, what we're doing is we're seeking pleasure, duh, because it makes us feel good. And the thing is here's what I want to teach you, gang, is that you can undo this. And one of the reasons I know that is because this whole conserving energy. Okay, so the way your brain works is you just continue to do the same thing over and over and over, and it's like going through a forest and you have mowed it down. You've mowed that path down over and over and over, and every time that you do that, you just solidify that. But there is a way that you can start to create new pathways, so we'll get to that. So one of the issues is that you're on autopilot. You're doing this automatic stuff, okay? The other thing is changing and finding something different to do takes a lot of energy. And what I find really interesting around a lot of women, especially, is they have no idea what else they can do to bring pleasure into their life. Now, I'm not saying that a bag of chips and a bubble bath are gonna, are equal at all. But it's very interesting. And the women that I work with, we work to add pleasure to their life in other ways so that their brain is super happy, and that when stress hits, they actually have a little bit more reserve. So number one, you're just on autopilot. Number two, you just have no idea what else to do. But another piece is that when we're eating, it's typically at these times where we have massive amounts of brain fatigue. I mean, have you guys ever worked all day on a project where you're just sitting and working on something that requires a lot of brain power, but nothing physical, and then you end up being so exhausted at the end of the day? Well, the last thing you can do is really make a good decision in that moment. It's just impossible. And here's the other thing, is that you have no idea how to deal with these triggers. You have no idea how to process that thing that says, when my husband comes home and he says, what have you been doing all day? You don't know how to process that trigger, or you don't even know what your triggers are, which is a huge part for me. And so one of the ways, and the ways that you can counter this, is to have a plan so that if you find yourself in that situation, what do you do? But before that, and what I really want to teach you, is how to avoid the situation and manage these triggers. And this is a super simple system that I use. You can come to the webinar tonight and find out how to avoid the triggers. And if you happen to find yourself in that situation, What are you going to do about it? Okay, well, I hope I see you guys tonight. The link for the webinar is up above. I will see you then, my friends.